Hello, everyone. This is Mr. Informal. Yes, this is Mr. Informal. In case you forgot, this is the Mr. Informal Podcast. We are on the podcast edition 144. Wow, 144. I wonder if the number 144 means something in terms of mathematical equations. Could it be 1 plus 4 plus 4 equals 9? I don't know. But in any case, this is the Mr. Informal Podcast 144. I go by the name of Mr. Informal, giving you the latest and greatest with 4 topics. But first, I hope you are being safe. Certainly, I hope you are healthy. And then certainly, I hope you are still cautious because as we are opening up, as we slowly open up as a nation, let's just not lose sight of things and let's still keep pushing just to get rid of this China virus. And so these are the 4 topics for the Mr. Informal Podcast. Number 1, Salesforce is going full force with working remotely. Number 2, Poshmark is adding a pet category. That is interesting. Number 3, chip shortages. Yes, microchips are having shortages. Last but not least, surprises in social media in regards to fashion. Yes, are we even surprised anymore? I don't know. But those are the 4 topics for this Mr. Informal Podcast 144. Please do not forget to add me on Instagram, MISTERINFORMAL. And please check out my website, mrinformal.com, mrinformal.com. So let's go ahead and start the podcast. So on the first topic from Bloomberg.com titled, what happens when the city's largest employers goes work from anywhere? Salesforce positioned itself as a focal point of downtown San Francisco. With its behemoth headquarters, now it joins the list of tech companies de-emphasizing the office. Wow. So, it's fitting that now that the metaphorical statue takes on a new dimension with Salesforce.com, the anchor tenant of 61-story building's Class A office space, announcing a permanent work from anywhere policy that lets employees remain on remote or flexible schedule after the pandemic ends. As San Francisco's largest private employer, the customer management software giant is a heavy hitter on the list of companies with similar plans to set affect downtown office spaces, including Twitter, Facebook, and Square, prompting tough questions about vitality of the city's core overall economy. Wow. So, what do I think of that? Certainly with Salesforce, they do a lot of coding, a lot of reports, a lot of research in terms of just in the computer. So this is one of those industry that can do this. Now, working from anywhere does not, in general, apply to every industry out there. And so, but in the industry of a lot of coding, basically a lot of computer items where you don't have to physically or have a physical object to see the item, where everything's in the computer and you can access it via internet, then yes, you can do this. But again, depending on the industry, such as the fashion industry, you cannot do this. Or even if you are a manufacturing industry, you cannot do this. Even if you are in the tech industry, when you have a physical technology, something you can create, such as a Android phone, you cannot do that because you absolutely got to have the item yourself, or you got to have a meeting with the items in presence. But also, here's the thing. I don't mind this. I like the fact that they're moving away from downtown San Francisco because I think it's a crap hole now. Downtown San Francisco is not the same anymore. I don't mind it, but I do question the interpersonal relationship of coworkers having to communicate, meaning there's something about having a physical person, actual seeing a person, than just being on the video camera all the time, webcam, or just a camera, and then just having to speak via TV. I mean, because if that is the case, then we might as well watch sports, movies, concerts in TV. There's no point. But at the same time, when you're speaking, when you're talking, it's actually the same thing, especially doing hand gestures just to express yourself, certainly that goes above and beyond having to be in a video chat. And so I do have a problem with this, but if they are willing to have some kind of meetings, maybe 2 times a week, could be 10 times a month, I mean, that's fine with me as long as you get to see the person. But what about company Christmas celebrations, or some kind of Christmas party for the company party, right? I mean, how is that going to go down? We'll see. And so I guess I'm okay with this, but then again, I will question the ones who will be new to Salesforce. How are they going to elevate their personal speaking skills? Certainly their body gestures, shaking hands, certainly hugging when you see your coworkers. I know that there are coworkers out there that are very efficient when they work, and certainly they don't need to be there in the meetings, but at the same time, sometimes you need to be there so you can physically see and examine how it could be, and that could actually develop as a skill when you are in the meeting. And so I wonder, how is that going to affect a person's business skills? But we'll see. And they're not the only one who's doing this. Facebook, looks like Google, and either probably did it or about to do it. And so we'll see what this goes down in the tech industry. So from retaildive.com, Poshmark enters into pet category. In a move to expand its reach, secondhand marketplace, Poshmark announced Thursday it's launching into pets category, according to a press release emailed to Retail Dive. The new category is for owners who are seeking a simple and social, sustainable way to shop and sell, including new and secondhand pet accessories, supplies, toys for a variety of animals. Entering into new product space demonstrate Poshmark long-term strategy to scale the company via category expansion per company. Well, certainly if you have shares of Poshmark stock earlier, then you are doing great. But if you haven't, then this could be the best time to invest, because 67% of Americans are pet owners. That is a lot. Now, I think this is going to be a ripple effect into those resale markets, to those second-hand markets, that, hey, Poshmark's doing this, we gotta do it too. Not only that, it might actually trigger an idea to those luxury brands out there that, hey, we gotta create some pet items. And so when luxury goods also takes into consideration to create pet clothing, pet accessories, all kind of pet items, then there's going to be a second-hand market for that, and there's always going to be a resale market for that. And so it, just like the Salesforce, it's going to have a ripple effect on the industry, especially in the resale industry, where pet is certainly going to be a big category in the future. Whether it be cats and dogs, that would probably be the most common ones. Wouldn't be surprised if there are goldfish accessories out there, or some kind of aquarium accessories. Certainly, cats and dogs are probably going to be the two main animals that will be pushing by Poshmark. I wouldn't be surprised if they push for dogs first and then later on cats, but if they do at the same time, it's fine. So certainly it's going to take a ripple effect in this industry, and again, a lot of resale brands out there are going to look at this and say, hey, we also got to push for this. And it's going to be a big business, $1 million business, and then becomes $1 billion business, as you know, or if you don't know, pet brand or anything that is pet related is $1 trillion industry. Well, that's why we have Petco, we have PetSmart, we have a department store that is dedicated for pets. Anything pet related, that lets you know that this is a market that needs to be tapped, that needs to be looked on, and that needs to be invested on. And so this is good for Poshmark. I mean, this is everything good. I mean, if they want to scale up, then this is one of the best ways to do it, because 67% of Americans are pet owners. So topic number 3 from Yahoo Finance, Biden team pledges aggressive steps to address chip shortages. The Biden administration is working to address the global semiconductor shortages that has caused production halts in U.S. industries, including autos, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said. So, the new order will compel a 100-day review led by National Economic Council and National Security Council focused on semiconductor manufacturing and advanced packaging, critical minerals, medical supplies, high-capacity batteries, such as used in electric vehicles, to people familiar with the draft said. U.S. chip industry urges Biden to support domestic production. Hey, that should be a good one. The executive who sits on the board of the Semiconductor Industry Association asked Biden to include substantial funding for incentive for semiconductor manufacturing in the form of grants, tax credits. Now, as you know, most of the chips, semiconductor, are made in China, made in Taiwan, also made in Malaysia and Thailand too. Basically, anywhere in Asia. Now, this is a big problem when we can't even produce domestically. Now, I know we are probably producing domestic, but probably a very tiny amount. But the fact that we having these shortages and we cannot produce enough domestically certainly lets you know something. Not only that, a lot of industry sectors are affected. Whether it be the computer industry, certainly, the auto industry, because they're having smart devices in there, so they need chips. Certainly, the AI industry, again, they need chips. The bit mining, the cryptocurrency mining industry is affected because, hey, they use, again, computers to mine these. The server industry, the tech industry, a lot of the industry are affected by these chip shortages. And certainly, who is paying for the price? We are, the American citizen. Or just Americans. In any case, this is a big problem, very big problem. I know that AMD, Intel, ARM, or whoever can't even produce enough. The letter signed by 21 CEOs, including Bob Swan of Intel, Steve Malenkov of Qualcomm, and Lisa Su of AMD, highlighted the country's global share of chip manufacturers dropped to 12% to 37% in 1990. Could you believe that? Here's another one is Biden's plans supply chain review after virus caused shortages. U.S. companies mostly outsource production to Taiwan, South Korea, and certainly China. So those are the three biggest companies. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing and Samsung Electronics. I'm not sure if you know, but Samsung also makes chips. So it is a lot. And what can we do about it? I mean, we really can't, because it seems like the China virus has caused this. But again, we should not have to go through for the best. I'm not going to say for the best country, but for the most developed countries in the world, for some reason, doesn't even have a plan B. Well, that lets you know what kind of things we're going through right now. So here is a opinionated article from Purse Blog. Yeah, I look at purses, mostly bags, I guess, men's bags. Uh, has social media taken the luster out of fashion? The element of surprise has been replaced with share everything all the time mentality. That's quite a statement. The art of fashion presentation has changed dramatically over time, but the modern day fashion show dates back to the mid 1800s. So, unlike the media frenzy that fashion shows have become today, in history, most fashion shows were private events that often did not allow the use of photography out of fear designs would be copied. Also, much unlike the fashion show as we know it today, the focus of such production used to be on the client, not the media, as designers would often sell directly to customers, which is actually true. So, while gone are the days of waiting to receive your copy of New York Times Women's Wear Daily and also Vogue Runway to read reviews of View Images newest collection, these days the possibilities are endless with live stream on social media to designers dropping photographic hints at what bags are being shown in the upcoming collection. There are no surprises anymore. Wow. Could you believe that? You know what? I agree with this. Everybody wants to be a marketer. You know, when you have the social media, you want to market something. You want to take some hints. You want to, show some teasers. Little chicken nuggets. 1 chicken nuggets, 2 chicken nuggets. But here's the thing. You don't need to always show everything, You gotta have, maybe, let's say you have a collection. Just show 10% of it. I mean, not in a full-blown picture, but, little details. And you don't need influencers. You need influencers after the show. After the show has been shown, has been taking pictures. Video record to the world. Just like movies where they show teasers, right? Trailers. You don't show everything. But this is exactly what the author is saying. That, hey, a lot of these brands are showing everything prior to the show. It's almost like you already know what the collection will look like. That's true. And I say to that, well, I mean, these brands need to stop showing everything. If you're going to say a launch date, okay, show everything in the launch date. But don't show everything. I mean, I also want to be surprised. Whenever I grab a book of fashion, I want to see what's going on. I don't want to know what's inside. While I'm flipping pages, that's when I get to see things. Again, just like the movies. When someone watches a movie, it's like, oh, I don't want to know. I want to wait. And I think I'm not gonna blame the influencers, because the influencers are being told what to do by these brands. So not only that, these brands can always say, oh, don't show this until this day. Sign a contract. That's it. I mean, you can blame the influencers all you want, but they haven't done anything wrong. They're only doing what they can do based on your rules or policies or what you and the influencers agreed on. And so, certainly there's going to be a lot of talk, but again, let's not show everything. Let's just show 10% of the collection before the show comes on. And then after the show comes on, that's when you can show everything. I mean, if I'm going to see it live, then I don't want to know everything. I want to see what's going on. I want to be surprised. I want to be amazed at least. Even if I am disappointed, that's fine. But that's the thing about watching something. Whenever you go to a concert, a show, or watching a movie, that's how it is. And so that basically concludes this podcast 144. I am Mr. Informal. I hope you enjoy this podcast. I hope you listen to me from beginning to end. And certainly, I would be glad if you did that. And certainly, I hope I gave you some insights on these topics, further insights, and hopefully you learned something. And again, please be safe And always stay healthy. Do not forget to add me on Instagram, MISTERINFORMAL. Check out my website, mrinformal.com, MRINFORMAL.com. And so I will see you in the next podcast. Bye-bye.